We're hearing you. We hear you very well, but we'd really love to see your radiant face. If you could turn on your camera, that would be great.
Thank you, bro. There was some technical issues over here. Dasha had to come and save us. All right. Okay, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Lava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Braja Jana Yamuna Chira Vanachari Chira Vanachari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasari Vido Bhatta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasari Vido Bhatta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Guru, Guru, Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, and go Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo, 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 Oh Haribo. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacharya Sutta Tarasata Srimad. His Divine Grace of Bechara Vrindi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. His co-founder Jaga Guru Paramguru Swami Prabhupada ki jai. His co-Naravat Manachaya Vrinda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Namacha Brahmacha Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Primsi Keo Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Guru Bhatta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Damodara Gopa Gopinath Shama Kun Radha Kunji Godana ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Mathura Dham ki jai, Navadev Dham ki jai, Ayodhya Dham ki jai, Nilachala Jaganapuri Dham ki jai, Shridham Mayapur Dham ki jai, Shri Ganga Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Shri Gita Nagari Dham ki jai, Sama Vira Bhakta Vinda ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gora Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the Lord Shri Guru and Shri Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 14, text number 23 to 26. I hope I'm right this time.
That is correct.
Thank you, Taraka. All right, so I'll just read through text 23, 24, and 25, which has no purport. Then we all read the last verse, 26. So text number 23. Itaketu Uvacha Bhagavan Kimna Vidyatam Tapo Gyana Samadhibi Yoginam Dosha Papanam Lahi Anta Saririshu. In Chitraketu said, O great Lord Angira, because of austerity, knowledge, and transcendental samadhi, you are free from all the reactions of sinful life. Therefore, as a perfect yogi, you can understand everything external and internal regarding embodied conditioned souls like us. Verse 24. Tatapi Prichato Bruyam Brahman Atmani Hintinatam Bhavato Vidushas Chapi Uditas Twat Anujaya. Oh great soul, you are aware of everything, yet you are asking me why I am full of anxiety. Therefore, in response to your order, let me disclose the cause. Text number. Okay. Text number 25. Loka pala api pratya samraya joshaya sampadaha nananda yanti aprajam mam should treat amam evapare. Translation. As a person aggrieved by hunger and thirst is not pleased by the external gratification of flower gallants or sandalwood pop, I am not pleased with my empire, opulence, or passions, which are desirable even for great demigods, because I have no son. Text 26. So you repeat responsibly. Tata pahi mahabhaga uva sahagatam tama yata tamira dushparam prajaya tadvidihi naha. Word-to-word translation. Tata. Therefore, because of this, Pahi, kindly save. Mahabhaga, O great sage. Puvai Saha, along with my forefathers. Gatam, gone. Param, very difficult. Oh, this one. Okay. Tamaha, to the darkness. Yata, so that. Tarima, we can cross. Vishparam, very difficult to cross. Rajaya, by getting a son. Tat, that. Videhi, kindly do. Naha, for us. Translation and purport by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Therefore, O great sage, please save me and my forefathers who are depending who are descending to the darkness of hell because I have no progeny. Kindly do something so that I may have a son to deliver us from hellish conditions. Report. According to Vedic civilization, one gets married simply to have a son who is needed to offer oblations to his forefathers. In Chitaketu, responsibly desired to beget a child so that he and his forefathers might be delivered from the darkest regions. He was concerned with how to get pinda, oblations in the next life, not only for himself but also for his forefathers. Therefore, he requested Angira Rishi to favor him by doing something that could help him get a son. So we have limited time, but people can repeat the Sanskrit. The text 26. Anybody?
Tapahi Mahabhaga Purvai
Tapa.
Saha
Oh, go ahead.
Purvai Saha Gatam Tamaha Yata Tarema Dushparam Rajaya Yad Videhinaha.
Anyone else? All right. Yeah, so as the translation goes, therefore, O great sage, please save me and my forefathers who are descending to the darkness of hell because I have no progeny. Kindly do something so that I may have a son to deliver us from hellish conditions. And Srila Prabhupada purports says it all. According to Vedic civilization, one gets married simply to have a son who is needed to offer oblations to his forefathers. King Chitraketu responsibly desired to beget a child so that he and his forefathers might be delivered from the darkest regions. He was concerned with how to get Pinda oblations in the next life, not only for himself, but also for his forefathers. Therefore, he requested Angira Rishi to favor him by doing something that could help him get a son. In other words, when we continue reading this thing, we understand how Maharaj Chitraketu was such an opulent king. He had everything, money, wealth, everything, wives, children, and no child. They said that Maharaj Chitraketu had so many wives, millions of them, but he didn't have no child. And because of that, he was always lamenting. So the previous text, when we read the previous verses, we understand how when Angira Rishi visited him, just by looking at his face, he could tell that the king was not happy. So Angira Rishi was asking him, what is it? You have everything. Why is it that your countenance shows like this? You don't look happy. What is your problem? And Chitraketu Maharaj was telling Angira Rishi that, great sage, you know everything. You already know past, present, and future. Whatever is troubling me, you already know. So why are you even asking me? You already know what I'm going through. But since you asked, there's no problem. I'll go ahead and still tell you. I need a son. And why does he need a son? So that the son will be able to perform Pinda when he's died and gone. Because it is understood that once you pass away and you go to the Pitaloka, the planet of the ancestors, if you don't get anything, if you don't have a son who will offer you Pinda, then you get stuck in Pitaloka. But you need someone to offer Pinda to you so that you can move on. So Angira Rishi was so concerned about himself and his forefathers that if he doesn't have a son, then what will happen to him and his forefathers when he is no more? But we could understand that many a time as individuals, we tend to think that we know the best, we know what is good for us. But unfortunately, we don't. We don't even know what is good for us. And so most of the time we approach the Lord and we ask for things that are actually not good for us. Because this particular verse, as we go on, we will understand how after Angira Rishi benedicted Chitraketu with a son, he also told Chitraketu something, that this son will be the cause of your happiness and the cause of your distress. So most of the time we ask for something that we don't even know. Immediately we may be thinking that if I get this thing, I'll be happy. But immediately we receive it, sooner or later, we come to realize that that thing is not giving us no happiness. And that is why we are so fortunate to be in this process of Krishna consciousness, because there are acharyas, and especially Srila Prabhupada, are gradually teaching us how to abandon our material desires and just always pray for the mercy of Guru and Krishna, because they know the best. They know which things that is desirable, that will help us move on in life and ultimately be able to go back home, back to God. So when we are asking something from the Lord, then we should ask something that will be beneficial. And we don't, because since we don't know things that are beneficial to us, and that's why we have to follow the footsteps of the great acharyas, what they desired from the Lord, which is devotion to the Lord. And once you get the devotion to the Lord, the rest automatically follows. Other than that, we will keep chewing the chewed, like Prabhupada says. Things that our great 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 grandfathers, great 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 grandmothers told us to do. They did it, they were not happy. They've asked their children to do it, they were not happy. They are asking us to do it, and we also will do it and will not be happy. And fortunately for us, we have been able to come to a place where the great sages, where the acharyas, who knows what is very good for us, they are always asking us, do this and you will forever be happy. But unfortunately, we don't want to do that. Let me give us a vivid example. Because once you entertain some specific desires that you think will make you happy, you eventually come to realize that those very things are not making you happy. And there is this common story that I used to tell, that there is this guy who went to the church and he was praying seriously because he was owing somebody $100. And he was praying seriously. His eyes were closed. He was seriously deep within his heart. He was praying to the Lord. Dear Lord, please, I need $100 because this $100 can save me and my children from all these insults from the guy that I owe this money to. He's always on my case. He's always trying disgracing me in public. He's doing everything. Lord, I only need $100. Please look at all the devotion, everything that I've done, and give me $100, Lord. I know if I get this $100, I will be really, really happy. So this guy prayed and he was crying. I mean, he was praying seriously, deeply from the bottom of his heart. So after the prayers, when he was getting out of the church, just at the entrance of the church, there was a man standing there. And the man handed him $100 bill. The man said, take this $100 and be happy if it will make you happy. And the guy was so happy. Oh my God. The Lord has listened to my prayers. He was so happy. But immediately something occurred to him, and he realized that, oh, whilst he was in the church praying, this is the very guy who was sitting in front of him. So the guy might have heard all the prayers that he was offering. And so that's why the guy has given him this $100. Then immediately his anxiety began. Why? Because immediately he realized that this was the very guy who was sitting in front of me in the church, who has heard my prayers and has offered me the $100. Oh my God, what is this nonsense? I should have said $500. Because if I had said $500, then this guy would have given me $500 and this would have solved all my problems. So now he began to lament, even though he now has the $100. But happiness was short-lived. Immediately he realized that this guy was the guy who was sitting in front of me. His happiness vanished. And now he's lamenting. What is his lamentation? I'm so stupid. I should have said 500. That is the nature of this world. Whatever we desire in our heart, as long as we desire material opulence, the Lord will fulfill it today. And the next moment, that fulfillment will not make us happy. We will be asking for another thing. We will be asking for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And we can never be fulfilled. Like I used to say, if you pray to Krishna, that dear Lord, now I'm so struggling. I have these two kids, and now I'm squeezed in one single room. Please, dear Lord, if you help me to get two-bedroom apartment, that will help me so that I can give one to the children and me and my wife will use the other one. Then Krishna fulfills your desire. You get a two-bedroom apartment. Sooner or later, your prayers will change. Oh, dear Lord, please, now if I get a three-bedroom apartment, then the children can use one, me and my wife can use one. And when we have a visitor, the visitor can use the other one. Then the Lord fulfills that, and he gives you a three-bedroom apartment. Sooner or later, your prayers will change. Oh, dear Lord, now if I get a house like with 4 bedrooms, that would be very ideal. I give one to my children. Me and my wife will have one, and one will be there for as a guest room. Then I can use one. Maybe I can hire one room out so that I can get some little income to help my. It goes on and on and on. Material desire never stops. You get one fulfilled, then you desire for the next one. You get it fulfilled, you desire for the next one. That is the nature of this world. So we could realize how Chitraketu Maharaj was deeply in anxiety, praying to Angira Rishi to help him with a son. But somehow or the other, is this son really going to make him happy? Angira Rishi said, this son that I've given you, he will be the cause of your happiness and he will also be the cause of your distress. So that is the nature of this world. And that is why we have to always rely on the message being given to us by our previous acharyas and our present acharyas, spiritual masters, because they teach us what is good for us. And that is what the same example that Jesus was giving to his disciples in Matthew chapter 6 from verse 26 to 31. He was telling the disciples, he says, if you are asking something from God, do not ask what you eat. It has no value. He knew that they have to eat, right? But he said, do not ask what you eat. It has no value. Why? Because he gave an example. Look at the birds of the air. All these birds that fly out every day, they don't have farms. They have no farms. They don't sow crops on the field. But every single day, as soon as they fly, the first place they will come down, they will step, there will be food available for them. God is making available for them. Then he went further to explain. When you are praying to God, don't pray for what you clothe yourself with. It has no value. Look at the lilies of the water. They have no farms. They don't farm. They have no barns to store food. But the clothes that God has given them, even Solomon in all his glory, did not receive anything, any clothes as beautiful as those of the lilies. What about you? How much more you who have decided to dedicate your life to God? You think He will not take care of you? So he asked them in verse 33 that so if you are seeking something from God, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and the rest he shall automatically add unto you. In other words, the crude example is if you are a very intelligent person, and excuse me to say, if you go to the bathroom and you want to do number two, there is no sensible person who will struggle to do number one before he does the number two. That would be stupidness. Because as long as you are struggling to do the number two, the number one becomes a bonus. Similarly, as long as you try to dedicate yourself to the Lord and you do the needful, then whatever you need for your sustenance, the Lord will make it available. It's automatic because Krishna himself has promised us that if you surrender to me, I will carry what? I will preserve what you have and I will carry what you lack. Unless we don't believe what Krishna is promising us. So in other words, we should learn how to always try to pray to the Lord that please help us increase our devotion to you. Because once we are able to increase our devotion to the Lord, then automatically the rest, the Lord will arrange it for us. That doesn't mean that immediately you became dedicated to God, Krishna, then it means you are going to be a millionaire. No, that is not it. That is not how it works. But the millionaire that you are going to be is like this, because if you have $1,000 and you become a devotee of the Lord, you realize that the value of that $1,000 in your pocket is way higher than someone who is having $10,000 in his pocket but has nothing to do with the Lord, but has not dedicated his life to God. Why? Because that person, because he has not dedicated his life to the Lord, the $10,000 will mean nothing because of his way of life. His way of life, when he goes out to spend that 10,000, he will squander it in no time on unnecessary things, alcohol, gambling, so many other things. And sooner or later, the whole 10,000 is gone. But if you are a real devotee of the Lord, when you have $1,000 in your pocket, because everything you are doing, you first think about the Lord, the desires of the Lord. You don't spend the money uselessly. Yeah? You spend it with intelligence because you know this thing, if even you are in the store, buy it. You go to one aisle and you see some abominable stuff. No, 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 I don't have to buy this because the Lord will not be pleased for it. You are always thinking about what will make the Lord, what will please the Lord. And because of that, the value of your money is way higher. And that is the position of the devotee. And that is the position of the acharyas. How they are teaching us to be very content with whatever the Lord makes available to us. Hare Krishna. Today we were very late because it was me and Surapur here. And we are old school. So we had difficulty setting up the computing system. Finally, Dacia had to come out of the altar to teach us how to do it. We got it working. So we are already 15 minutes late. So I will end here and I'll open the floor for if there are any questions, comments, or uh, inputs that will help all of us make a headway on our devotional life. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions or any input or any contribution that you have to give, please indicate by raising your hand, or you can just unmute and give your input. Hare Krishna. Okay, Surah Prabhu.
So you already explained in general, but I'm looking for this particular point that you made that when we have this material desire, like with $100, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I should actually pray for $500, and you giving other different examples, you concluded that there is no end of material desires. You fulfill one desire, then another will appear, and there's no end. However, I can see some similarity when we desire for the Supreme Lord. I distributed, 5 books today. I should pray. Maybe I should distribute much more, and and I would like to distribute tomorrow more than 5 books. So when I distributed, more, 10 books, 10 Bhagavad Gitas next day because I prayed. So actually, I should pray for more. Maybe tomorrow I will distribute 20 books. So we can see there is something similar. So what is the difference actually by how you can explain this?
Yeah. So if I will repeat Surah Prabhu's question. His question is that I was making an example how this guy was in the church and he was asking for $100. And finally, when he realized that the guy was in front of him, he should have asked for $500. Now, similarly, he is saying that what about somebody who is distributing books, Prabhupada books, and today he goes out and he's able to distribute maybe 10 books. Then that person is praying, oh, please, dear Lord, oh, Guru Maharaj, please help me so that I can distribute 100 books tomorrow. And then he goes, he distributes 100 books. Then next time he's praying, oh, dear Lord, please help me so that I can distribute 1,000 books. So what is the difference between a devotee praying like this and the other person who is also desiring for some material gains, praying for more and more and more? What is the difference? This is Surah Prabhu's question. So the difference is that one of them is asking the Lord to help him, is asking the Guru to help him so that he can give more of the Lord to people. So in this way, the person is desiring to fulfill the Lord's desires. And the Lord has promised in Bhagavad Gita that whoever distributes this knowledge of mine to others, you are very special to me. That is the promise the Lord has given. That if you preach this knowledge to others, you are very special to me. And there will be no one as special as you. This is the promise of the Lord. So in other words, the more you try to give Krishna to others, you can desire and desire and desire more and more and more, because it is said that the more you do devotional service, the more devotional service you do, the result is that there will be more service. The more you want to serve the Lord reciprocates. And what is the reciprocation? The reciprocation is that there will be more service for you. And this is what they do in the spiritual world. Service and more service, service and more service. But because we are absorbed in thinking of the Lord, the happiness keeps increasing. Because we do some small service, so there is some hint of happiness in our heart. And then when we increase the service, the happiness will also increase. It increases according to how we desire. Unlike material desires. In material desires, the more we desire, the less happy we become. So it's inversely proportional. Material desire is inversely proportional to our happiness, whereas spiritual desires is directly proportional to our happiness. The more you do in the spiritual desires, the more happier you become. The more you do for material happiness, you try to achieve material goals, the less happier you become. So that is the difference. One is that One is inversely proportional to your state of happiness, and the other is directly proportional to your state of happiness. That is the basic difference between desiring to serve the Lord and desiring to serve your own senses. That is the basic difference. One of them gives you more. The more you do, it gives you more happiness. The other one, the more you do, the less happy you become, because you can never fulfill it. Because the more opulence you get, look, during the end, when you are about to die, then that also becomes another problem, because now you begin to think, oh, all these things that I have acquired, my money, my building, my cars, so am I going to leave them? So it also becomes another burden on your mind. And that is why we are being told, advice every now and then to continue desiring what will please the Lord. And once we do that, we ourselves becomes happy. I mean, even materially speaking, think about it. Sometimes you do some service to somebody, some random person needs some help, and somehow or the other, out of the bottom of your heart, you render that service to the person. Immediately you render the service to the person and you see the happiness in the person's face. You yourself feel something within you, like some goose pimples, something. You feel some inner satisfaction that you have done that service. Even though you did not get anything back from the person, you just desire, oh, well, let me help this person. And immediately you render that service to the person. Somehow or the other, some inner satisfaction comes, and you become very lightheaded. Oh, my goodness. I mean, to render service to others is so important. To do selfless service without desiring any returns is so important in our everyday life, because it brings some amount of satisfaction, so much happiness in our heart. Any other question or contribution? I see James here. James, I've not heard from you. Are you there? And Modalila Kishore, I always want to hear your voice.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
for your class. Thank you for speaking about service and how it increases our joy when we serve Krishna, when we serve the devotees, when we serve others. And I was thinking of, actually, I was thinking of a verse, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. That when we're serving the Lord, it becomes a lightness, like no matter what it is, even if you feel, most people would be like, oh, that seems like so much, or you do, and it's like, no, it's such a light thing to do because Krishna is reciprocating.
Mm.
Yeah. So no matter what the service is that he gives us, and sometimes it can seem difficult, you know,
Mm.
um, it can seem difficult, and sometimes it can seem that it's not appreciated, but we know that it is. We know that Krishna is reciprocating, and that sometimes the most difficult things, and for me, this is true. I feel sometimes I'm like, oh, this is just so much. Why is this, And it's like, but it's the most difficult things, I think, over time when we begin to continue to serve Krishna and he opens our eyes more, we see that those things brought us the furthest along, that we've advanced,
Mm.
just putting one foot in front of the other and just
Mm.
continuing to serve, trudging, I guess, not always skipping, not always running or dancing, but sometimes trudging, but still advancing. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. And it happens in our everyday life. I mean, that's why wherever we go, we see, when we read the story of Narada Muni, how the Lord appeared to him and he told him, you are seeing me this lifetime and you no more see me, you'll see me later. First, the Lord gives you the inspiration and then he vanishes. Then it looks like darkness. But if you continue, if you persevere, then eventually at the end of the Lord is against you. And Jesus also, Jesus Christ displayed the same thing on the spiritual part. Once you take it, and that is the part of the cross that he was carrying. The beginning, he has strength. So even though they were beating him up, but he has strength. He was carrying the cross. The first day you come to devotional service, you are so elated, you are so fired up. It doesn't matter. You don't see no impediment, right? But as he carried the cross to a certain level, he started getting weak, getting weak. And now he will fall down. And even to wake up becomes so difficult until someone came to his aid and the person helped him carry the cross a little bit distance. And after that, when the cross was handed over to him, he was able to finish up to the end of it. And then what happened? He was glorified. So similarly, devotee, you do the same thing. The beginning, you are so fired up, things are happening so nice, you want to render service to everybody. Then along the line, the dark side begins to manifest. Now the Lord hides himself a little bit. You are no more seeing that enthusiasm no more. And it becomes so difficult. That is when you begin to think, why are these devotees bothering me so much? They are in pain, too much pain, blah, 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 blah. But no, don't leave it. If you still desire that the Lord should help you go on, then the Lord will bring the Simon to help you carry the cross, right? And who is the Simon? You meet a devotee in the temple who becomes like your inspirational person. Anytime you are feeling down, this devotee can give you something, tell you something that will encourage you somehow or the other. And gradually, the light will begin to open again. The light will begin to open in your life again. Then even though the service attitude that you began with, it will be coming gradual. It will not come as it was in the beginning, but gradually it will be opening up. It will be opening up. Then you come to a level where you become a very steady devotee. Nothing can shake you off. No matter what nonsense anybody tells you, it cannot shake you off out of your service. You become steady. And once you get to that level, then you know you are almost there. So Krishna never leaves us. Under no circumstance will Krishna leave us. He never leaves us. He's always there. We are the ones who sometimes we close our eyes and we don't see. But he's always tapping at our shoulder. Open your eyes, open your eyes. I'm still here. And so he's giving us the association of devotees. If sometimes you don't even want to open your eyes, then another devotee will tap you. Please, Prabhu, open your eyes a little bit. You'll see something. So we get inspiration from each other. And that is very, very important in our devotional life. That's why we always talk about Sadhu Sangha, devotee association. In Christianity, they talk about communion of saints. Communion of saints. That is devotee association. You have to always mingle with the saints. Then, as you rub shoulders with them, gradually you attract some inspiration from them and you make a headway in life. Every walk of life, you always need inspiration. If even you want to be a typical materialist, you need inspiration. Isn't it? If you want to sell essential oils, you need someone who knows essential oils and who uses them. And the more you rub shoulders with them, gradually you become so interested, and then gradually you get realizations out of it, isn't it? Everything, every walk of life in this world, you need association, and you need the right association to give you inspiration. And so we should take advantage of our association, the association of each other, and it will help us so much. Thank you very much. And Nita Kishore Prabhu, thank you very much. Prabhu, thank you very much. Who else do I see here? Yashoda Devi. James, are you still there?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Can you hear me?
Krishna. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you for the very nice class. I liked your example of the I believe it was $1,000, how someone who's not using
Mm,
it for Krishna's service
mm,
can just, squander it. You just kind of reminded me just of the example of you know, using everything in Krishna's service. This is a sign of just intelligence. Um,
mm.
yeah, I don't have any questions, but
All right.
I like that point that you made. Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Now it's time for us to close. Kantaram Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Damodara ki jai. Gora Premanande. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Sri Radhe.